What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. I've got a very, very, very cool guest. He has worked with some and managed sales for some major Fortune 500 companies, such as Motorola, Ford Motor Company, Darden, and IHOP. So these are all names that we know. He is also now a published author of a very cool book that I think we all can learn something from called The Goal Getter. His name is Tim Phillips. Tim, thank you for joining us. You're a fellow Chicagoan like myself. Actually,
Yes, I
we could have
am.
probably done this in person had I planned a little bit better. That would have been a lot better. But can you please introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Oh, certainly. What's there to tell? At 25, graduated college with an engineering degree, worked for Motorola, and then, of course, did the next obvious thing, lost my job and started cleaning restaurants. And then from there, I decided to write books. That's a very, very simplistic, but each bullet point in my life really carries with itself its own special story, of tragedy that and weight that you carry forward.
Sure. So being a corporate, I mean, I guess, so you own your own business now, is that correct?
Mhm. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So but being in the corporate world, transitioning into being an entrepreneur, and I really love talking to people that have broken up with the corporate world, and I love using that term because you go from such stability and security to taking a risk on yourself, and it's totally opposite, right? So can you talk about how that transition for you?
Going from a job setting, a corporate setting, a cubicle, I'm familiar where all the pens are, where the pencil sharpener is, and the bathroom break schedule, and when my boss is in the room. Yeah, you have all these large patterns in your life to go from where do I put my pencils? When is my bathroom break? I don't feel like doing something. And that whole process is the skill set is the same. I got to make sales calls. I have to make business calls, and I got to train people. But what is different and is the emotional maturity in those items. It's a difference between being a babysitter and having children. One, it's the company's responsibility, and if you're babysitting, but if you're not punching in, it's the emotional responsibility of this is your baby. It sinks or swims. If you make the mistake, and I failed a few times in business. I'm sure we all have some of that. It didn't go nearly as well. In fact, COVID almost brought me down here too, but it didn't. We're creative, and it was the emotional. I couldn't be a victim in there. I have to be a victor. Okay, great. Well, what's wrong here? And your cat's sneaking up on you.
I know. The animals make an appearance all the time. I've got 4 of them, so they like to say hi.
That's adorable. But the emotional maturity was with it, and it is easy to blame. But the stock market crashed. I had a flood in my house. I can't drive down the street. Sometimes here in Chicago, they shut down roads on us sometimes.
Yes, they do.
But my word is way more. And once you put a problem to your subconscious, I got to be there 15 minutes early. Your subconscious will reverse engineer it, and you'll get there. And I don't know if that answers your question, but there's your difference between having a job. Boss, I can't come in today. The road's closed.
Yeah, right.
Deanna, I'll be there at 3. Bank on it.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that was your answer. Everybody has a different answer. And so what was your defining moment when you decided hey, I'm done with corporate and I'm going to just do my own thing, even though whether it was a business that didn't work out initially, whatever, but I still feel like when you take that risk on yourself, that is still a success. That even if it didn't last long term. So I was a fashion designer for a couple of years. I was not successful monetarily, but I was successful in building a brand and creating beautiful clothes. But that's just an industry that the margins are way too small. I'm not interested in being involved in that. If I ever did get into it again, it would be only a couple pieces at a time instead of a whole collection. But I was successful in chasing my dream and making it happen, but I was not able to be successful monetarily. Does that make sense?
Motorola, the dot-com bomb, Motorola in 2001 lost $250,000 in 1 quarter. And so they dropped it by 11, 13,000 of us all over Chicagoland. And now, just like your fashion design, there's a bunch of us now going for the same job, well, supply and demand. And so
Yeah.
the income now is not there. Maybe I probably wasn't the best engineer. Engineers don't have charisma. So the first thing, just ready for this one, the first thing I decided to try and do on my own is to promote vacations for companies.
Yeah.
And what would be is, instead of giving money out to their employees, we'll use restaurants. Instead of giving money out to the employees for the person who pushes the most alcohol, they will, instead of here's a drive away vacation, cash free, and the interpreted value is greater than the actual, the wholesale cost that I get. And then the Twin Towers fell.
Yeah.
Travel was shut down. That was a very abrupt, and I didn't even have a chance to really get out the door. I mean, I put all this money up front, and now it's gone again.
Yeah.
And so I tried. Well, now I was scared. Would try to get back in the corporate world. Got a job for a wonderful company called Prime Guard, and my job was to turn the whole company around. We did that within 2-3 months, and the owner says, "Well, good. Now I want it." And I don't know about the stability because it wasn't there, and I lost out on it. Now I'm a praying person at this point. You start getting very innovative when your belly button hits your backbone. It's like,
For sure.
now we're gonna try and do something a little bit different. And I was meditating with by myself, and the first thing came is go into cleaning. And I'm like, that's a great idea for someone else, not someone as educated as me. But for the first month, I did start talking around. I need money. I'll clean for it.
Right. Yeah.
And it was the second or third month that it hit me. I'm a corporate person.
Yeah.
And I started addressing some subscription models. Let me preface some of this here. I'm leaving the names out, but I was in a mentorship program, and I'd say, "Hey, Basil, I'm in a situation here. Well, what are your assets? What can be blessed in your life?"
Yeah.
And that's so. What do I have? Well, I know how to. I have free time, and you start finding out what you can bless. And what about subscription models, such as restaurants need to be there monthly or at least once a quarter to address their atmosphere needs.
Yeah.
And it took about 2 months. Never engineering, numbers. Give me a computer and a spreadsheet to. Yeah, I did not know how to clean a restaurant when I closed
Yeah.
8
I wouldn't know how to
restaurants.
clean a restaurant. I mean, I guess you just start with the
And
basics, but there's certain probably some procedures you have to do.
it was and I kind of remember it because it was so mechanical at that time. But that first year, between motivated by fear to lose my house, I had a wife and a family there, kept pushing me out the door. There's where you start maturing. I come home and be my Tarzan's vine broke, or I'm going to go out there and be a good representative for the Phillips family.
Right.
And that first year, we closed 3 major clients, and I never had to look back again. To this day, those clients are still with me. I don't have a website for them. They just say, "Tim, I need this done." And just this last week, I'm in Wisconsin cleaning some floor tiles. We did a ceiling in Gurnee, and I think yesterday I was in Indiana, and they just called me up, and it works out pretty good. Once again, I'm making things a little simple. I mean, it takes hard work. You got to establish your character. I come in to solve problems. I'm not there to talk about myself. I'm there to talk about Deanna. I'm there to talk about them, and that went fantastic until 2016.
Yeah. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Ho, 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 ladies. The holidays came early, not only for you, but for your man here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products that your man will actually use, including their all-new ultra premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Also, this awesome refined cologne. It smells so sexy. My man loves it. I love him wearing it, especially after he's all clean shaven, using the Lawnmower 4.0 and trimming those nasty nose hairs and those ear hairs. You know what I'm saying, ladies? It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use the code LABELFREE20 for 20% off and free shipping. That's right, ladies, 20% off and free shipping with the code LABELFREE20 at manscaped.com. So you've worked pretty hard to establish your business, and cleaning is necessary though. Like that is like a necessary service, especially for businesses, restaurants. That's they have to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, not really. It's interesting. Some business models in the restaurant world that's not part of it. And I don't know how long they're going to last around. Some don't. I mean, I'll just honk one horn. They're not, there's no, I'm just saying it because I'm amazed at how sterile they are. But the IHOPs are, they're very, you could eat off of anything in that location. They're very good at sterilizing. Before the pandemic, they were really on top of their game.
So
Some people,
they just have their employees do that are working.
yeah, it's so part of the culture
Okay.
of their locations. You just do it. They're still guys ages bleach, and it's not sloppily done either. It's done by procedure. That's why I'm impressed. I'm talking about because I'm impressed by this is mechanical. When I walk into a location, I train my guys. We're all mechanical.
Right.
This is how you clean, and if you get creative, you usually miss something.
Yeah.
I do at least,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. We're only human. We're not machines. And even machines mess up every once in a while. We have problems zooming in. So
Yes,
like nothing
yes,
is perfect. Nothing is perfect. That's an impossible feat to get to. So let's talk about this book. I love the title. I'm a total goal getter. I need to have goals. Like that's what makes me tick. That's what makes me go. Like I'm very type A, very overachiever. So like I'm really big into setting goals for myself and I've always, once I set a goal, I'm going after it. That's it. Like there's nothing that's going to get in my way. Even if I have a setback, I'm still reaching that goal.
Yeah. You actually you just described the whole book in 3 sentences. I should have just wrote what you wrote down and just put it out there.
There's a little bit more to it because people that are not like me don't have that kind of thinking process. So let's talk about it. So you have some questions here. What inspired you to write The Goal Getter, a story that teaches how to become one?
Okay. Well, the book series is breaking up into 2 things. In fact, the whole education series, I have educational consultants I work with. And the first series is goal setting. That's what we're completing right now. The second ones could be on personalities and mastermind. And so it's a real tight knit, piece by piece, a whole person. The big title will be Carve Your Own Future. Well, let's talk about goal setting. The reason why it even started in the first place is tragedy. Actually, in this time frame, my wife left the household, and running a household. I have kids, I have a business, and so that I'm like, gosh, instead of being bitter over that breakup, once again through prayer and petition, they came to me, well, Tim, you're a teacher. You've been teaching your people, you've been teaching your workers. 3 of my workers I've had in the last 10 years, my managers have gone up and they have their own multi-$100,000 cleaning companies, and it's just fun watching them. So the whole series came out of the desire to share something that is really, really is common, but not commonly known. Succeeding is really common. We're talking about tragedies here. And one of the most important things about tragedies, if you are able to grasp this, if anyone can grasp this, is that a tragedy, one of the main purposes is to break up the habits that created it. Someone who smokes for 20, 30 years has cancer and they're able to grasp onto it. But far too often, we hang around the same people that would nurse that tragedy. I was fortunate enough, and I'm assuming the same thing. You start breaking some of your associations. Hey, I'm going somewhere, and our relationship's not going to get us there. I'm not going to call them up and say no, but I'm going to seek people who will aid. And then that's why I just want to have time for some of the older stuff. And once again, great people. I don't want to beat up anyone here, but
they're on your journey. If there are certain people you can't there are certain people you can't take with you to where you're going. And I've had to clean house multiple times over my adult life, just from in my early 20s, hanging out with the gangbangers and doing drugs and all that, and being a victim of human trafficking, to like meeting my husband, and like I had to clear all those bad people out to meet my husband, and to have that life that I created with him. Then after he passed away, then I had to start all over. And there are certain people that from my old life that just could not come with me into my new life. And it's not necessarily, my best friend and I talk about this, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's all about really growth and where you're headed.
Yeah, and I'll even put some good news here. We're talking about some of the bitter parts, but the great news is if you are heading towards a goal, if you are growing, you will have friends come out of the woodwork, people you haven't met at line at the deli, somewhere on the internet. I mean, I ran into you through a fellow colleague, and we don't know each other, but we have a fellow colleague. I said hi, you said hi back, and here we are talking. People will come to your aid that will help you reach your goal. It's amazing. You still got to do the work,
well,
but
right.
now you have a better tools to work with, better encouraging people to help you out.
Better network.
Thank you. See, that's two things you wrote. I got to write down. The books get simpler around you. But
well, I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, but let's talk about. So I understand the tragedy part and what brought you to writing the book. Very sorry that I'm sorry for anybody who has to go through things. But that this is what builds character and builds strength and builds that wisdom. So why don't we talk about like how you help people reach their goal setting needs by your book?
Certainly. The two books, one's is the right brain, one's the left brain. The right brain is a story teaches you how to become a goal-getter. It has all the real implications, how it looks like in life. The second one is a textbook, and it's something I bring into corporations. It's modular, say you're a multi-level, and I'll be bringing in, I'll change the questions to fit what you're trying to teach, or a corporation. The department has certain goals they want to address, and we can put that into the questionnaire. Cool little deal. But the first thing that I would talk to if I was talking to someone, say, "Gee, Tim, I want to be a goal setter." You have to realize, you have to imagine yourself to be successful. You have to tap into exactly. You have to tap into the imagination of what it is. Keep it simple. I need a new car, and I want a Tesla. Everyone's talking about, I got to have a Tesla. Now, it could be anything. I want my car paid off. My Volkswagen paid off. But it's your dream.
Yeah.
And now you're now creating an imagined you. This person does not exist. This whoever doesn't exist. The Tesla's not here. The car is not paid off, or whatever the dream, goal, desire, or dissatisfaction is. It's not there. But now you got to start imagining it. So now imagine you're driving this Tesla. That is your dream. I really want it. And you're feeling the wheel. What color is the wheel? Yeah. All right. And once you start getting bored of the interior and pushing buttons, imagine your brother put his handprint on it and it annoys you. We're getting this into your imagination, because whatever gets put into the imagination, your subconscious will reverse engineer it somehow. You'll start attracting it. So when I first start talking to people, what is it that you want? Let's spend 15 minutes a day just revising what you want. And please don't make it big. Make it an imagined you. Yeah. A great place to start for students. I want to be a better student. Well, what does that look like? Well, I want straight A's in science and Spanish. Fantastic. Straight A's in science and Spanish. What does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? Right. What if someone puts French in, and it freaks you out? And you start creating that imagine you, because eventually that imagine you will be you. And at that moment, you can't unpickle yourself. You are a new creation. It's a wonderful feeling. It took me 8 months from losing my second job to getting my first client in the cleaning business. I did one, twosie, threesie, anything for a buck. But once the first client came in, is this really working? And I kept imagining, I'm going to make this money. I'm going to be home. I'm going to pay my bills on time. Yeah. I'm only going to be 2 months behind in my bills. I remember that one. That was like around like 10 months into it. But 8 months, first client closed. 2 months later, second one closed. And within 12 months, a third major client closed. Yeah. And it was,
it's all about manifesting what you want, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's very key, and just like creating like that good energy around you to make sure that those manifestations are going to come true, because, there is a lot of power in that. Your thoughts are very powerful.
Well, the converse is true too. If you're imagining I'm going to fail at this, or I'm shy. Everyone told me I'm shy my whole life. You'll reverse engineer it. I'm going to walk into a situation, but I'm shy, so I better live up to my image. Yeah. We have a whole chapter called comfort zone. We'll keep it simple here, but that fear will also be reverse engineered. It's whatever you put in there, it's going to come out. It takes a lifetime of work to start getting that imagination to work for you.
Yeah.
And once it does, then that becomes your habit. Hence the foundation of a goal getter. There's a few levels in it, but that's a real good foundation.
I love it. I think we get the gist of it. Yes, again, thoughts are very powerful. Always want to feed your brain positive reinforcement. So that's why you need to get this book. Tim, where can the audience find this book or find you, get in contact with you? Can you please drop all your links?
Certainly. Well, there's only one major one. If you type in Tim Phillips in the Google engine, you'll get about 50,000 of us. There's a lot of we were popular over the last time, but for me, Motivated Jogger, MOTIVA, Motivated Jogger at wixsite.com/workshop. And that's where the education series are being posted, and all my little get-togethers and where I'm going to be next, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, I will make sure to drop the link in this episode. Before we wrap things up and say goodbye, are there any last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave with the audience?
I really do. And we're having fun here talking about all the positive applications. But what happens if someone doesn't decide to start setting goals and moving on with their life, moving through their life? And this would be, I guess I should answer this would be the real motivation, is that person's life starts getting smaller, not bigger, starts getting collapsing until trolling and being critical, or living, going to an old folks home. A person who used to be a CEO is now watching TV all day because that's their world.
Yeah.
And that could happen at 17, it can happen at 70. And that's a real tragedy, to see someone, this world so small, till they think that just criticizing is an activity that is rewarded, and it's really unfortunate. That would be that's something. So people, don't do that. Go out there and grow. It's a great place. It's a great time to do it.
Yes, agreed. Growth, yes. And personal growth is key to any kind of success in life, whether it's family, job, career, what have you, health, all that good stuff. As always, you guys, this is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.